Hello YouTube, my name is Jack and welcome back to another tier list. Today we have Slaanesh. If you haven't been following along with these tier lists, I have already done Nurgle, Undivided and Khorne. You can go check out the videos in the corner of this screen, and you can also see the video that I did for the competitive list that I'm running with Khorne and Nurgle Daemons. It has a 75% win rate and I cover all of the choices that I've made in that list and how I would win an event with it as well if you want to go check it out. Today, we're going to be ranking all the Slaanesh demons in a tier list. Let me know what you think in the comments down below, where you would put each of these units, and of course, be sure to like, subscribe, do all the fun stuff down below, and become a member. It's only $4 Australian a month, and it really does help me out to make more videos for you, make more battle reports and such, so please go consider doing that. Also, the Discord is down in the description, first link down there, and it's entirely free, so you can join us down there and let me know your opinions down there. And of course, stay tuned for the final video of the series, the Tzeentch demon list. So we start off with Shalaxi Hellbane. I'm going to put her in C tier. She doesn't really belong anywhere higher than that. I mean, if you're playing low, not competitive games, just like low level games with your mates, then I'd put her maybe S tier, because low level players don't really know how to deal with Shalaxi. She can be a bit of a powerhouse. She one-shots pretty much anything in the game. However, because she doesn't fly, she can be very easily screened out. She's quite easy to kill if you are playing a competitive list. Some things will just get rid of her in one turn, and she is very expensive. 450 points is still way too many points for Shalaxi. If she came down in price, I'd put her up the list, but at the moment, she's just too many points. A quarter of an army, not worth. Next, we have a Keeper of Secrets, D tier. Yeah, I'm going to be harsh with this one. I feel like the Keeper of Secrets should be a lot better. GW, if you're listening, they're way too expensive. 290 points for a Keeper of Secrets when they're worse than something like Rotigus, who's only 230 points. I think is way too much. I'd probably price them around 200. I think that would be fair. And again, Demon Princes are 200. They should come down to about 140. I think that the Keeper of Secrets is ludicrously expensive. It doesn't deal any damage in melee. It doesn't really have any good abilities, and it doesn't fly. So even though it's fast, it doesn't really matter in Demons at the moment because you can teleport stuff all over the board anyway. I just feel like they need more shooting, more tank, more damage, or to just come down a lot in points. Personally, I'd like to see them around the 200 mark. It would mean that you can run a lot more units alongside them and really play a fun game with demons with more units, but at the moment, too expensive. D tier. Next, we have the Exalted Chariots. So there's two Exalted Chariots. One is a character and one is not. I'm going to put them both in C tier. I just don't think that they're that great. The best thing that they have going for them is one of them is OC 5 and the other one is just like has a decent fight on death ability. They're not particularly great at this point in time. I feel like if you're versing an army with a lot of high strength, massive damage weapons, like Bright Lancers, for example, they can really swing one way or the other with their 4+ invulnerable saves, but otherwise, that's about all they have going for them. They're really easy to bring down. Their speed is not really key in any lists at this point in time with the Demon Codex, and they just don't hold points, they don't deal damage, they don't have shooting. C tier. Infernal and Rapturous, also C tier. She can only guard a unit of 10 Demonettes, which is just too low. Demonettes die really, really fast, and her ability is to bring back Demonettes. Well, Demonettes never really come back because they always get one shot, including the character. She's very squishy. She is cheap, but doesn't really do enough for the unit, and also she has one big shot at range, like a las cannon in her pocket, and I mean, it's swingy at best. No rerolls, you're more than likely not going to get the shot through, so you're basically paying points to revive Demonettes that are going to die in one shot anyway. C tier. Transweaver, B tier. Transweaver has some really, really good abilities. The Transweaver would be better if there was an easier way to battle shock your opponent with the Demon Codex. Battle shocked enemies would suffer against lists with multiple Transweavers. However, it's just really awkward, their ability to be able to use it. So at this point in time, even allying them with things like skull cannons just doesn't work that well. So personally, I would like to see a change to their ability and they can go up to S tier. But at this point in time, they're a B tier unit at best. So, and I'm probably being too generous. I say that, but now, Silesk S tier. Probably one of the best units in the entire book. Slaanesh has the ability to do actions, she can advance and do stuff, she has flamers which are really good, she stands back up once per game, she gives an amazing ability to Daemonets, and she's very cheap and very resilient. 120 points is a steal. Any Slaanesh list that does not have Slaanesh is not playing the game correctly. Slaanesh is a auto-include in any Slaanesh list. They are just the best unit in the entire Slaanesh range. Very good unit. Contorted Epitome, C tier, along with the other characters. Doesn't really do anything at this point in time. If you get really lucky and you can roll a lot of 6s, probably an S tier unit for you. However, just not great. I mean, it has a very niche ability that gives you mortal wound protection and things like that. It doesn't really happen too often, and has some melee presence and isn't too expensive, but honestly I'd rather just take a unit of Daemonets just to throw them away, deal some damage and screen the board. That's probably a better use than taking a Contorted Epitome. I'd like to see the Contorted stay at the same price, but maybe double in damage and change their abilities to something a bit more useful. She at the moment is just a C tier unit. Not very good. Daemonets, I'd put them at B tier. I don't think they're too bad. They're a troop choice, so they have OC2. They're not so bad in this current form. They're fast, they're squishy, but they deal a little bit of damage. They're good with, you know, Slaanesh and maybe a Transweaver, and they can do some actions and screen the board. One of the cheaper troop choices for Demons, so they're not so bad. I'd just say middle of the road. I think that the other units that work around them need to be buffed, and then they would also be a little bit better themselves. Next we have the Seeker Chariot. I'm putting it at B tier, very middle of the road. It doesn't deal any damage at all, literally useless in terms of shooting and melee. However, it is really fast and somewhat resilient and really, really cheap. So you can use it for things like actions, screening the board, teleporting all over the place to just be annoying, really. You can bog units in combat with it because it's somewhat resilient. I would use it purely for those reasons, not for damage, not for anything else. It's just an action monkey. It can advance and do an action. It has pistols as well, so they can do actions in melee. It's just hilarious. I would just use it for that. Next we have the Hellflayer. I'm going to put this at S tier. It could be an A tier unit, but the Hellflayer is the best chariot. It is probably one of the most expensive at 105, and especially in comparison to a Seeker Chariot. However, its ability is really, really good. It is somewhat resilient of a unit, and you can skirt this unit around the edges of the table, just dealing a ton of mortal wounds to things. It's hard to bring down in melee for smaller units, and it will just get through anything because it has so many mortal wounds. If you pump this thing into infantry, it will just sit there all day, dealing mortal wounds, healing from your shadow. It's really good. I'd take 2 of them. I think they're great. Seekers, B tier. They're not so great. Again, another one of those units where the units around them need to be buffed so that they can be better. I think that they could come down in price a little bit, but at this point in time, they're useful for things like actions, and that's about it. I think Slaanesh, as you may notice, is suffering a bit of a theme where they're good for things like actions, but not so good for damage. It is a bit unfortunate. I think most of the range needs to come down in price. Same with these Seekers. They're okay, good for actions. That's about it. Middle of the road B. And lastly, you hate to see it, Fiends, D tier. They don't really deal any damage. They are somewhat fast and their ability is somewhat okay, but they are so expensive, very easy to kill. They're just ludicrously priced for what they do. If they came down like a lot in price, obviously I'd put them way higher up the list. I think their ability is fine. I think that they could be a very useful unit, not particularly super damaging in combat, but their price is just way too expensive to take them. I definitely don't see them in any lists nowadays, and I wouldn't be taking them at all. I just don't think that they're worth it in any case. Yeah, sorry Fiends, but D for you. And that's my Slaanesh tier list. Let me know what you think in the comments down below. As I said at the beginning, become a member. It's only $4 Australian a month. And join our Discord and let me know what you think of these things, either in the comments or in our Discord as well. You can go down there, share all your discussions and your opinions and things like that. Would love to see you down there and have some chats. Let me know what you would put differently and where you would put it, etc. And I will see you all in the next video, the Zench tier list. So stick around for that. And if you haven't gone to see the other videos yet, go check them out. Otherwise, like, subscribe, do all the fun stuff, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace out, bye.